let's make some meatballs. So, start with the breadcrumbs. A couple of slices of 12 grain in my case. West Coast supermarket bread. Nothing fancy. Cut it into any pretty little shape you want. And also tidy up your kitchen before you make any YouTube cooking videos. Pick a number. Pick a bigger number. There you go. Now these don't seem to be dropping too well, so we'll resort to the good old-fashioned technique of getting right in front of the camera and picking up a stick. You like my shirt? It's my winter shirt. And don't forget, when you're using a wooden stick, if you contact the magnificent osterizer blades, you will enjoy some extremely sharp wood in your meal. So don't do this at all, like ever. Instead, drop them in one at a time, or do something else. Well, in fact, I could try that. I'll be making breadcrumbs all day now. You know, I never even thought to look it up on YouTube, see if there was a video about making breadcrumbs. Alright, let's turn that camera back and get those little puppies into one of my magnificent 8-ounce Pyrex bowls. I'm not saying I've had them a long time, but they are advertised on eBay as antiques now. But I just love them for meal preparation. And you can bake in them if you want to, because they're Pyrex. Alrighty, that seems to be the breadcrumbs in pretty much the consistency we want them for a meatball type mixture. I'll probably cut this bit out. And this bit. Nobody wants to see you dick around with an osterizer. What's next? Chopped onion. The second ingredient in our wonderful, magnificent meatball recipe. Any medium-sized onion will do. You're going to need about a cupful again. I think this one's a bit too big for that, but we'll somehow squeeze it in. Now I'm going to cut one end off. I think it's the head. Leave the root in place for now and just strip the outer skin away. This is the well-known YouTube onion dicing method, the non-culinary school trained method. I don't cut them horizontally. Just fight that slippery skin off there. Now you know what, we've done. Totally close enough. Alrighty. So let's give those little puppers just a few vertical stabs. Let's go nearly all the way through, but not quite up to the root. And you can always chop them a bit finer and in a little bit later. I'd be fired from any commercial kitchen for dorking around like this, but I'm a software engineer, so that's okay. I do have trash disposal in my sink, so that's where that's going. It's going to go straight into the San Francisco Bay. Well, we are going to have to reduce the size of these a little bit. In fact, we're going to have to reduce the size quite a bit to get them down to something between 1/4 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch square. And as always, you can leave a few funky bits around for that artisan look. Nice and crunchy too. You see, I've got a slightly bigger bowl this time. This is because we're way over on onion. Normally you'd want about a cup, same as the breadcrumbs. But this turned out to be more than I expected the onion to be. Alright, let's get this set up for prep. Can afford to be picky. Now you can make too much, in which case don't cram it all into the meatball, but reserve a bit of that diced onion back for when you make homemade tomato sauce. Look out for a video on that real soon, because it goes just so well with the meatballs. Yeah, get out of it. Alrighty, so there's the onion. Has the chef left the building? Alrighty, so we've got wet condiments, dry condiments, and the onion, the breadcrumbs, and an egg we did before, plus the meat. In the dry condiments, we've got a ½ teaspoon of oregano, ½ teaspoon of basil, 2 tablespoons of parmesan. In the wet condiments, we've got 3 tablespoons of milk, or you can use cream, and a teaspoon of Leon Perrins. The meat, yeah, that's wet, dry, onion, breadcrumbs, and the egg. The meat is low quality, 85% lean, 15% fat, works a lot better than the more expensive types of minced meat, which is good. Of course, you don't have to use beef for this. You could use minced pork or minced pork. But I like the beef. The guy at the supermarket measures out £1 and wraps it, and all that. You just saw me take off in about 3.5 seconds. That's training for you. I have not had that training, so it takes me about 20 minutes to get it back out again. And there we are. We've got the breadcrumbs, the onions. Whatever you do, don't dick around with getting the last bit of onion out. God damn it. There goes the egg. Then we've got the half teaspoon of oregano, half teaspoon of basil, 2 tablespoons of parmesan, 3 tablespoons of milk in my case today, and 1 teaspoon of Leon Perrins. Let's fire up the mixer, the handheld mixer, and get going. Time to mix everything together. Get it all incorporated, and look out for any signs of dryness in the mix. You don't want it overly moist, but you don't want it dry either. Another half teaspoon of liquid like milk or water. If it's looking a little bit too dry, it just has to be able to hang together in a meatball and be cooked, but no more moist than that. It's looking good, if it doesn't fall off them. There are different sizes of stainless steel scoop. This is the humongous standard ice cream one. I think that's 59 millimeters or something like that. And this is a dinky little one. This is 39 millimeters. And both of them I have used for making meatballs, but I think the smaller size is more versatile, cooks better, and so we'll put the other one away and leave that for our American-sized ice cream portions. This is nothing like a new baking pan, but I like it, and I keep it clean because it's consistent. It's 12 inches by 17 inches. And what I've discovered is that it can make great meatballs, and I know exactly how it's going to perform, and I keep it bone dry. No grease of any kind on it, and you'll see parchment paper will do all of that for me, and leave the meatballs just sitting on the paper and not stuck to anything, and they don't bleed out into each other. Just hack this paper into the right shape. I have a feeling I'm not doing this in the most efficient way, but we'll get there. I made quite a lot of mix for this one, so we're going to need the full tray. Alrighty, there we go. We're almost ready to start making meatballs. This is a gas oven. We're going to set it to 350, that's Fahrenheit. Let's start getting these meatballs formed, and I think I'm going to need a spatula for this job, as well as my little size 34 ball maker. always a stumbling start, but you fairly quickly get better as you go. And right now I'm just trying to get the right amount into a single package, lay them out on the paper, and do a check on how much room I've got. You can see there some of the onion bits are a little bit bigger than the specification, and that's okay because they're going to turn out nice and crispy and tasty. So it's okay to have a few stragglers, just don't make them all like that. No need to worry too much about shape, just get them formed and distributed onto the pan, the baking pan sheet. Now we've got them all roughly distributed over the pan. There is actually still some mix left in the bowl there. You can't see it due to my wonderful lighting. But now we're going to go back and just roll them roughly ball shaped. Now that we've got the quantities right, we've got it all distributed. Also going to do a little bit of a tidy up and redistribution just to fit on that extra half cupful of milk I've got. It's a lot easier to go back and do this in another pass than it is to shape each one individually as you go, because then if you want to add a tiny quantity to each one to make them just a touch bigger so they all fit on the baking tray and use up all the mix, this is best left till last. I reckon we can squeeze another one up there in the corner now. Yes, we can. Just get the straggler bits of onion there, just push them in. We're getting there. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, middle shelf. I could probably go to 375 as you'll see in a minute, but 350 will work for now. Let's get a nice insulating cloth because these things are going to be hot, and there we are, straight out the oven, still bubbling away, and they are going to work just great, although I haven't got the best picture of them. But there we have it, a very simple recipe for meatballs. I'm leaving the oven door open at the moment because cooking in the afternoons is a great way to heat the house, especially in December, which is the time of making this recipe, December 2021. And the oven's now cooled down 100 degrees or so, and I'm just going to put them back in there until they're completely cool, and then they'll go into a container and into the fridge until I start to use them. Thanks for watching.